Asking a woman for a DNA test, is it love or lack of trust? As a woman, I want to ask you, if you have kids for your husband or you have kids for a man, and he wakes up one day and tell you, baby, honey, I want us to run a DNA for these children, how are you going to feel? Are you going to feel bad? Are you going to still be in that relationship or in that marriage? Is it going to affect you in any way? Or you're just going to say, okay, let me even run the DNA to even help him trust me. As a man, why would you even wake up and ask a woman for a DNA if you do not lack trust or if there is no conflict? Let's talk about DNA. You know, DNA is something that is a bit new in Africa. We used to hear it in the American world, but recently we brought it to Africa. And these days, paternity fraud is one thing that is trending with a lot of African women. Yes, we have to agree to that. Now, the point now is, when a man walks up to you and asks you for a DNA test, it comes off like an insult. It comes off like he's insecure. It comes off like he's not a good man, he wants conflict and all that. And the truth about it is, that's what it is. If I am the one, and I'm married to a man, or I have a child for a man, and he wakes up and asks me for a DNA, I will give him a DNA. And if that DNA confirms that the child belongs to him, trust me, that marriage will never remain the same. That's the honest truth. If I'm not married to the man, I will never get married to the man. And if I am married to the man, we are going to break up along the way. You know why? The moment you do that, there is something that leaves me. And I know a lot of women can relate to this. I always tell a lot of men, if you cannot trust her, don't love her, don't marry her. Oftentimes, DNA always come off when there is conflict. No man actually wakes up to ask for a DNA. It's except there is a misunderstanding, or he sleeps with a girl and he doesn't want to take up the responsibility, so he wants to be sure that he's not being played. Because when you sleep with a girl and you don't want to marry her, you don't want to take up the responsibility, is because you have it at the back of your mind that she's sleeping with other men. So sometimes you can always request DNA, especially from all this baby mama or from all this careless sex from young girls. You can often request DNA. And DNA often come in sometimes in the family, probably when you're traveling out of the country, or when there is a conflict, or when a man hears something, or when there is a misunderstanding, right? But to me, I just feel like before we rush into DNA, because DNA is a bit psychological for us that are women. That's the honest truth. It is psychological. There is no way as a man you're going to tell me to go and run a DNA test on my children that I'm going to feel the same way I felt for you before. I might never even get pregnant for you again. I'm talking for myself, and I know a lot of women can relate to it. I might never even open up my legs for you again because it's a trauma. Yes, it's a trauma. That's the honest truth, because in relationship, the truth about it is everything is trust. The reason why love is sweet is because people trust you, you understand. And the true meaning of love is actually finding somebody that you can deceive. Yes. Of course, yes. That's the real meaning of love. The moment someone starts to ask you plenty questions, you feel very uncomfortable. You don't trust me, baby? What are you taking me for, baby? What is wrong with? That's the beauty about love. You trust people. You are open-minded to them. That's love. If you cannot trust, you cannot love. A lot of you have never felt love before because you are FBI. You are police. Love is an open heart. Yes, openness to get hurt. This person might hurt me in the future, but I just want to give the person my heart. The moment you start to doubt, start to ask questions, start to be FBI, you're not in love. That's the honest truth. And that's why sometimes betrayal is something that hits you like a dagger. When people are going through heartbreak, sometimes you're wondering why this person they cry like this. Is because you trusted, you gave somebody your all. But that is what love is about. And that's why God gave us a heart. If love is not about trust, God will not give us a heart. Our heart will be so transparent that the next person can see through your heart. You go know when person won't kill you. You go know when person don't like you. Know when person they plan something. But God has a reason why He gave us a heart. It's because He wants us to love. He wants us to trust. Because if we begin to know what is a human being's heart, we will not marry. We will not date. We will never have friends. We will be on our own. So my point about this DNA issue is very, very simple. DNA is good. But if DNA is part of our tribe, then it should be part of childbearing. The same way you're going to give birth in the hospital and they give you a birth certificate, then they should also have a DNA certificate. It's not when I finish having children after 2, 3, 4 years, come and tell me to come and be running DNA after 6 months. It's traumatic. It is traumatic. If you have trust issues and you meet somebody for the first time, tell them you're going to run DNA. When a woman gets pregnant for you and she's pregnant, tell her I will run DNA. Let you know you have trust issues from the beginning. Not when I start having children. Let me know that my husband is a DNA person. Because when a man tells me I'm going to be running DNA, I cannot even have anything to do with you. Because you have trust issues. So for every time I give birth, we'll go and run DNA. Right? It's just like DNA for a woman is like a man that cheats. After cheating, for every time you want to sleep with your wife or your girlfriend, she asks you to go and do what do you call it, infection test, or she asks you to go and do run test to be sure that you're not carrying any infection. Do you know how traumatic that is? Anytime you want to touch your wife just because you cheated, right? She'll not tell you, please don't touch me except you run a test. Go and run a HIV test. Go and run an infection test. Do you know how you're going to feel? Even though you get to run the test and you give it to her, that urge, that excitement is going to die. Gradually, what you feel for that woman will begin to tilt. What makes love interesting when a lot of men cheat is that the woman still forgives you and still open up her heart and her body like you never slept with anybody. Yes. So, don't get me wrong. Don't twist this video. Don't misinterpret me and don't misquote me. Because I know a lot of you have very short memory. And a lot of you do not reason. I am not saying DNA is bad. Don't get me wrong. But I'm saying it's not part of our culture. Yes. If you know you don't trust a woman, don't date her. Don't marry her. Don't stress somebody's child. It's very simple. A lot of you that are so quick to ask for DNAs, if you begin to trace it back to your roots, your mothers have a lot of questions to answer. Your fathers might not actually be your fathers, and your grandfathers might not actually be your grandfathers. My point is, fatherhood is not about who put in the sperm. Fatherhood is about the care and the acceptance and the love. The truth about it is, this DNA issue is beginning to become very annoying. If you know that you don't trust this woman, you know that she don't do show you the suspect, leave her alone. Let somebody else who do not know that she has done Olusho marry her. You will even have more peace of mind as a man.